Good morning, welcome to Morning Outlook, and a pinch and a punch to you all for the first day of the month. Okay, so here we go, looking at the euro dollar. Now is the first day of the month going to bring some cheer to these European currencies? Well, there seems to be some comments of Brexit negotiations and the financial services aspect may have been agreed, so there may be there's that massive problem across the water and the island of Ireland regarding the border. It's all gone quiet on that, but meanwhile there was comments coming out. In fact, there was a comment out yesterday that was circulated, and then the press realised that the date of the letter was a week old. Marginally embarrassing probably, but so there we are. We'll see how it progresses, but there are comments that there's some positive measures and agreement being made, so that's that. And with that in mind, the US dollar seems to be on the offer everywhere. It's being offered across the board there, so most pairings are pushing up at the moment, and probably got a decent draw for them with the new monthly pivots and the weekly pivots still sitting there above, so it's giving them a bit more of a draw at the moment, which may help the situation like the euro and the pound. So let's push on through here. So the euro, as you can see, already done its normal daily range by looks of things relative to previous days recently, and is pitched up. Now whether it can hold on to these gains is another matter, of course. Just looking, it's run through its daily pivot all the way through, and well, selling off at the moment. Now it's not massively clear, but it has put a couple of higher lows in through this sort of price action on the 60-minute. I do wonder if there's more, but it could just as easy consolidate a little bit this morning. Up until now, and the trend from the 4-hourly perspective and the daily perspective is still down. We'll see. I don't know if this is just too much joy in the morning, and these markets have started moving. We'll see if it can continue. What would make me look for the long side? Maybe look at the reaction if it pulls back towards the 60-21s there, the 60-34 area. If it pulls back to that area and holds and starts putting reversal in, maybe it's an opportunity to see if we get a bit more of a push this morning. Some of that movement yesterday did come from the through the Asian session. I say through the Asian session, through the late US session there, and it, as I said, it confirmed a higher low at that sort of point just early on. So it's making some moves that may be deemed as certainly more bullish than we've seen for a while. Okay, that's the euro dollar. Cable, it too, well, it's almost onto its weekly pivot and monthly pivot. I would have suggested there's a reasonable probability that both of those could get caught fairly soon. The reference to the financial services, it's a huge aspect of the UK economy, and if that is actually agreed, well, it's good news for the pound, and it may continue. So we'll see, but I wouldn't be too shocked if it runs into these areas, into a weekly pivot, monthly pivot, and has some sort of retracement, some profit taking up there. If it gets there, it'll be into the daily R2. There could be resistance to those levels, and enough to see it, as I say, retrace a little bit. All it really needs is probably some more positive comments, but trading it for now, it's difficult at this stage. Maybe post 8 o'clock, if it's retraced in the shorter time frames, it may give a move. But again, as I mentioned it on the euro there, it has put some higher lows in. Quite a solid move yesterday. Okay, that was the must have been about 3 o'clock when they realised that the date on the letter was a week old, but it pulled back. But the overall move here seems to be suggesting that there's some potential good news. Now there is a Bank of England meeting today. It's expected, in fact I should have put it on this screen, but I've got a nice little chart there. It's expected that things will be left pretty much as is, bearing in mind the uncertainty, and it'll be left in that vein. So wage growth is looking solid at the moment from the the numbers that are coming through, and that will be noted. But the Brexit situation and the no deal situation is still sitting there, probably too strong for them to do anything or even suggest anything. Voting's expected to be 9-0, a bit like the England football team playing Spain or someone. Oh no, they won last time, goodness. Okay, moving on then. Whew. Dollar yen. Dollar yen, well, it's a bit, whilst all the others are being offered, yen's actually softened a little bit this morning, come back and just clipped its run back into its monthly pivot, and it's bull flaggish here, so it does look like there's further upside potential. However, that could all change post 8 o'clock, and it's just a case of whether we see this sort of move continue to the downside. But the daily pivot's still above us. Would like to see that ticked off if I was looking on the short side of it, but it's yeah, at the moment, well, not looking. I mean, it's not looking as strong the yen as anything else, and this could be just that risk off or risk back on, and people looking for riskier trades and taking the money out of the yen again. So there we go. There's the risk with the yen. Aussie dollar. Surely this should be simpler. Well, yesterday ended up on a down day. Back up today, bang into its monthly pivot already. Maybe seeing a little bit stronger. On the shorter time frames, we've got a couple of higher lows that are in there now. More positive sort of early steps on this 4-hourly situation, but it really depends how it all reacts around this 200 moving average. Looking at the dailies, we're out of the range. It's okay. The range yesterday was so tight there. The pivots are all pinched, and they're pretty useless for today. But it may need a retrace. I mean, for me to be, if I was looking to buy this, I'd be looking for a retracement, perhaps back at least to the 8 moving average, maybe to the 21. Not quite so solid in some respects, although higher highs coming through, a couple of points there as well. So it's maybe the signs of something that may progress through the bigger time frames. Okay, we've got the higher highs there already, higher lows on that 4-hourly. So it's really only the daily that's lagging, and for the daily to become bullish, it needs to really break through that trend line there, the 50 MA. If it can start getting through there, I'll be much more bullish on the Aussie dollar. Okay, Canadian dollar. What's going on here then? Well, it pitched out yesterday on its route to the upside. Put the monthly pivot in, which may be in the near term a target which it will look for. It's got the weekly pivot still below. It may just be a sufficient draw to drag things down there. It's not a country mile away. Has put a couple lower highs in there, so maybe it too may be seeing a bit more of a roll. Not for sure. It doesn't look like it'll be on oil price, but that will make its biggest gains. But we'll see. Okay, so that's pretty much it. So big news today then, and the main news today is the Bank of England. Well, we've got two figures actually. You've got manufacturing PMI out first thing this morning, which is pretty key. Not as key as the services PMI, which will be out next Monday. He says 3 days apart. Yep. And then we've got to say Bank of England meeting, and what Carney says at 12:30. So 12 o'clock will be all of the data released, and then Carney speaking at 12:30. US manufacturing data also out at 2 o'clock today, which again may create some volatility. That's it for me. Have a great day. Bye for now.